We are here with Kevin Sorbo. Thank you so much for being here.
It's good to be here. I'm in your new digs. I did it 2 years ago, and this is a whole new thing.
We changed the studio. We changed the hosts. You were here with Kyle and Ethan
that's
last
right.
time.
Actually, I don't think that we were. No,
you weren't. You weren't.
You were on the Babylon Bee before either of us were.
So where'd they go?
What's that? Well,
we
Ethan's
fired
moved on,
one.
and
Okay.
Kyle is on a flight to.
All right, there you go.
No, we did not fire.
But we have water for you this time.
I appreciate it. 'Cause last time I came, you guys had no water, and I said, I realized we're in California, and this is like gold.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's
very valuable.
I actually just. I came in a little bit earlier before I came to you guys because there's a guy that I've been talking to on the internet, and he wants to fund one of my movies. So he said, "I know you're a golfer. Come on, we'll talk on the golf course." So on the golf course, where you have the ball washers, there's no water. There's the ball washers.
Oh, really?
So they don't want to put water anywhere right now, and the golf course was just burnt.
So I don't believe in the drought. I think it's not happening. That's just my opinion.
You don't believe in the drought?
Yeah, it's one of the
I
conspiracies.
come back. I live in Florida now. I got the heck out of here 4 years ago. I left California in the rear view mirror. We're green all the time, and I love it.
That's so nice.
We're green all 24 hours, 365 days a year.
When did you leave California for Florida?
4 years ago.
4 years. So that was pre-pandemic. You were already leaving town. Yeah.
Well, you know what precipitated that was, if you remember 4 years ago, we had the shooting on Thousand Oaks, that crazy guy.
Yes, at the bar.
At the bar.
The next day, the fires came.
Okay.
Remember that?
Yes, I do.
So I left that morning to fly to Indianapolis to speak at a prayer breakfast with Steve Green from Hobby Lobby.
Oh, yeah.
And
Not the musician, Steve.
not the musician, no.
Okay.
And so my wife wakes me up at 3 a.m. The next day because I got in late. It's like, well, they're in East Time, so it's 3 hours later to get there. And she says, we got to get out of the house. And I go, what? The fire's just like, we can see it over the hill. And I freaked out. And there's nothing I could do about it. I come back. I went around the smoke. It was the next day. Fire everywhere. I go into my driveway. Wait, hold on. I got to back up. So they told the crowd that I saw 3 houses because they did a helicopter thing on KTLA 5, right? And I could see my house, and the house next to me was totally engulfed in flames.
Oh, wow.
And the wind's blowing that way. I said, my house can be gone. I get up in front of 2,100 people to this prayer breakfast. They all stood up and prayed for my house. I lost it on stage. I said, how am I supposed to talk now?
Oh, my goodness.
I get back. I drive up. I see my house. I stop. There's my house standing. And right away, a police officer followed me up. He goes, you can't be, oh my gosh, Kevin Sorbo, I'm a big fan. And I said, listen, I just got back in. I just flew in from the East Coast. My wife never had a chance to go to the safe. I got to get stuff out of my safe. And he goes, you can't stay here. I said, don't worry, I'll just grab it and go. Of course I stayed. And I just made sure the fires were around the house. Fire came within 3 feet of my house and went around it.
Oh, wow.
Jump Canaan, burnt a bunch of homes down that way, jumped 101 and burnt all the way 13 more miles all the way down to Malibu. Wow. And my house survived.
Wow, your house survived.
So then the for sale sign was there. So a guy pulls up a couple of days later. He says, I see your for sale sign. I lost my house. It's gone. Can we rent it for the next 2 years while we rebuild? My insurance company will pay triple your mortgage.
Wow.
I looked at my wife, Sam. I said, we're going to Florida because we've been talking about it for years. We both got family there. So we both talked about it. And then within a year, they bought the house.
Nice.
So we didn't have to come back because we kept praying, just buy the house.
Yeah.
We're on a hill. It's a beautiful view of the mountains. Just buy it. And they just bought it. They fell in love with it and bought it.
And now you're in Florida where you don't have to worry about natural disasters.
No, just nothing happening there. We were on the other side of the state.
Yeah.
Everything's going so well.
Well, but you got fires here, you got land, mudslides, you got earthquakes, you got Newsom, you got high taxes.
Newsom's the worst part of
traffic. I left the worst governor in the country for the best governor.
The best
in the country.
one. Everybody's here.
There's no question.
Yeah.
He's a rock star. DeSantis is a rock star. Man.
That's what's such a shame about California. I moved out here. I've been here 13 years, and it's such a beautiful state
It's a
on
beautiful
so many
state.
levels. It's just run so terribly at the state level and in all the big
Where are you
cities. Pennsylvania originally, near
Okay,
Allentown.
my wife's from Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah?
Pittsburgh.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm from the eastern half of the state, but yeah.
But I feel the same way. I mean, I moved out here in the late '80s after college and everything, and I loved it. I lived in Santa Monica. It was great. Now Santa Monica and Venice are just, what they've done to the beach area and the homeless and the drugs and the feces everywhere.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me.
It's mostly the feces.
Yeah. That's when that brings. It's like people used to come here for the waters. Now they come for the.
Now
feces.
they come for the variety of feces.
But it's sad. It's a beautiful state.
Yeah.
And they have these policies that make it worse. You would think they would look at 5 million people have left the state in the last 10 years, and like 2 million in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Doesn't that send a signal of some kind that maybe we're not doing something right? But the only thing I can come up with is they're doing it on purpose. They want to destroy the country. They want to destroy the state. And I don't get it.
I don't get
It's
it
weird to
either.
me.
It's not benefiting anyone.
No, in the public I mean, I have the number one after school program in the state in the state here for 25 years now. Of course, I can't be part of it because I live in Florida now. But we started in 1997. It's called the World Fit for Kids. Go to worldfitforkids.org. LA Unified is horrible. It's one of the worst in the country. The worst is Baltimore, but LA Unified has averaged a 54% dropout rate. The last 25 years.
Terrible.
We work with 12,000 inner city kids in these inner city schools. We average a 98% graduation rate and a 67% higher GPA. What are we doing for those 3 hours after school that the school system can't do? They're dumbing down our kids on purpose.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
It is incredible.
Sad. But
It's very sad. And you guys are very passionate about school and homeschool.
we are. My wife.
Sam,
Yeah, we
Sam
talked to your
too.
wife about school choice last
That's
time.
right.
Yeah,
here.
she's amazing. Yeah,
That's
she's-
right.
yeah,
she's
cool.
in D.C. right now speaking again. And she's got a number of books out there. My favorite is the first one she wrote called They're Your Kids. And a nice, a friendly reminder. But I think we said something earlier. I think one of the blessings of COVID is that now 2 million more kids are being homeschooled after people saw they woke up to the fact that, wow, the public school system really shouldn't be used as a babysitting service. It kind of sucks.
No, my wife's running.
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, and it's getting more and more politicized. It's just
It is. It's
public
crazy.
schools. It's crazy. Like I always think when I was a kid, I didn't know whether my teachers were Democrat or Republican. It was like you just learn the topics. Now it's so agenda driven. It's just crazy.
That's right. Whether they were married or gay or straight, I didn't know who they were. I didn't even know their names. I couldn't. It's like, honestly,
It was
I
mom and dad.
Couldn't remember them. Yeah, actually, no.
The only one we knew was gay was the gym teacher, but that's because she was the gym.
Yeah, because she was. I was pretty sure my gym teacher in junior high had something going on. I don't know what he was doing, but. Anyway, but no, it's crazy. My wife runs a large homeschool program in the area.
Yeah, you
and it's
mentioned
just
that.
an insane
Fantastic.
influx of people in the last year. So we've had to really work on infrastructure and stuff to try to have a net for people.
Well, and they woke up with the school boards too. They're running by these woke nut jobs that want to put in the stupidest things and teach kids, the gender and the woke and the critical race theory. And we just had in Florida, 12 of the 15 top school districts have been flipped, and it's Christian conservatives running the school boards now. They got rid of these people. And thank God. I don't understand why people are doing this. I don't quite get it. What this agenda-driven hate world we're living in.
Well,
is going
divide
on.
the kids based on their race.
Yeah.
Make these kids feel lower than these kids.
What
It's just an
about
insane
drag shows for kids?
Yeah,
you think
you
those
think, is
are
that
a
a
good
good
idea?
I don't get it. And churches are doing it.
Oh, I know.
We got churches doing it
I
now.
don't know if I'd call them churches. Those are
No.
It's
Moloch
just surprising
cults. Yeah,
to
I know.
see that happen.
I don't know.
There,
It's-
yeah.
It's just, I honestly don't care. I honestly don't care that people are transgender or gay. I've been in the business
Do
for
whatever they
so
want.
long. I've worked with so many gay people in my life. That I've never a problem with them. They've never a problem with me. And there
Yeah.
won't be one that ever come out and say, oh, he was horrible to me. But they still, as we mentioned earlier, they love their labels. They love you're transphobic, you're homophobic, you're racist. I love that. And I go, well, how am I that way? How am I racist? Give me examples of my racism. They can't.
It's just a way to
They just
shut you
have
down when you disagree. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, that's true. It's a difficult place to be in. So no drag shows for kids is what you're saying.
I say it doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't. I think that let them grow up, let them discover that down the road through whatever reasons. But to sit there in fourth and fifth, graders and younger, it's just weird to me. It's just weird that they go out because they're always very sexual too.
Yeah.
It's the sexualization of kids.
Yeah. Well, that's what they wanted.
That's what they're all about.
And don't tell your parents.
Don't tell your parents we're
No.
going to sexualize you.
Yeah. It's
Show
just
you all
weird.
this weird stuff.
Yeah.
We saw that actually Adam and I saw that this week where there was a mom dressed like the drag queen that had come
Oh
in.
yeah.
I saw that.
Did you guys see that?
I saw that.
You saw that?
She's trying to prove a point of that.
Well, and they're like, oh, it's so inappropriate.
That's the point.
In the meantime, yeah.
That's good. What about the Second Amendment? Are you a gun guy? You like guns?
We are fully loaded at the Sorbo household.
I bet.
Yes, we have more than enough weapons to protect ourselves if anybody ever wants to come visit, and we are set. My two boys are really good shots.
Oh, good.
The only one's really not taking lessons yet, but wants to get is my 17-year-old daughter. But my two boys, my wife's into it. We're set for war.
That's great.
If you come to our house, we're going to go down fighting.
So if something happens, people know to go to the Sorbo house.
Exactly.
when the grid goes down.
Because we have plenty more guns to spread around.
You also have
and they're all
space.
legal, by the way.
Oh, that's good.
There.
While in Florida, a lot's legal. That's not legal here.
This is true. Yeah, I actually got my carry license here in California, believe it or not.
Oh yeah,
That's
It
cool.
was easier in Ventura County where I lived.
Oh, okay,
The sheriff department, they were fans and they kind of helped, but it still took a long time.
Yeah.
Florida was sort of like Texas. I think I walked in and I had to have a drink of water, and they said, "There you go. You can now carry."
Here it is. Yeah.
You didn't have to tell them who you were. You just
No, you just go on in and just do it.
Do you know who I am?
yeah.
I want one of these.
You know how I used to be. Crying out loud. But yeah, no, we
Do you still have swords available also at home?
I do. In fact,
Yeah?
when I do my interviews, I have the big sword I got for my last day on Hercules. When the crew, my props department made this amazing sword, and they inscribed it. You know, the 7 years of the series on there that we shot it back in the '90s, and said the journey may be over, but the legend lives on. They inscribed, which I thought was pretty cool.
And it's a big old sword, like a 5
It's a big old sword. Oh, it would hurt if you
I don't know
actually.
that we have any of the sword. Oh, we got the one.
You got one
Lord
there.
of the Rings sword.
I
back
love
here
the fact
still.
that
Yeah,
you guys have my photo back.
Yes.
Yep. I grew up, watching
Got
it.
all our
I tell you, it was
icons
Hercules.
of Christian and conservative culture all over the room.
Well, it's
Yeah.
mythological.
Yes.
Biblical. Were you Samson? No, that's biblical. I had the long hair, but
Yeah.
but it was
idea.
what I liked about the writers. They put a lot of good messages in Hercules. They really did, and the fight scenes were all, for the most part, were done in a very humorous way. I wasn't killing people. It was, you throwing people around, landing cow pies 100 meters away, and it was just fun. And pardon the sin of pride, but we did become the most watched show in the world by season 3. We're in 176 countries, and it was really cool.
That is amazing.
Yeah, it was good fun.
Do you travel internationally and get recognized in other countries regularly?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do you have any fun stories about getting recognized overseas?
Yeah, I was shooting a movie in Malta, and we had Easter weekend off. So 3 of the actors, myself, we decided, it's just a little puddle jumper to get into Rome, because I've always wanted as a bucket list see the Pope Easter Sunday. Came out.
That'd be cool.
100,000 people out there. It was just
Which
crazy.
Pope was this?
I can't remember now. There's the one
John
that's there
Paul.
now. It's the one that's there now.
Pope
Francis.
Francis.
Pope Francis. Yeah.
Pope Francis.
The really liberal one. But anyway,
Yeah.
he came out, and all of a sudden, while he's preaching, there's a group of these Italian college kids, and they see me. And they're, Hercules, they went crazy. I go, shh. And everybody turned to look. And of course, then I end up doing photos for them.
They recognize you
Yeah,
from the
you're like,
ancient
oh, man.
statues. They're like,
Yeah,
I went over and
There's his
posed.
sculpture.
I posed when I was walking through the museums, the Hercules ones. I was posing next to it.
Oh, that's awesome.
there was a new statue that was just discovered, a 2,000-year-old statue of Hercules.
Right, I read about that.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's
Interesting.
why doesn't it look like you?
I don't know.
Oh, we got that's the
That's
picture
him
of
right.
it
That's
there.
him
Yeah,
right
yeah.
there.
There it is.
Yeah,
I didn't
kind of
have
looks
hair
more
like
like
that.
Adam actually if you shave.
It almost, yeah.
Does it? I don't have the curly hair. I rarely see anybody with that sculpture curly hair
It almost
anymore.
looks like the Prometheus movie,
Yes.
Oh.
They're really big-headed,
I love
they were
that
searching
movie.
for the,
Yes.
it was interesting. It was an interesting way to look at, did they create us?
Did they
them?
seed us?
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't solve the problem.
No.
No.
And it is the forefather of all the alien movies as well.
Which I love. I love those movies.
They're good. The first one was really great. The second one was awesome that James Cameron did.
agree.
And what's amazing, I came out in 1986. That still plays today.
Yeah.
I mean, that special effects back then still works amazing today.
Well, the 80s were all about actual practical special effects, right? And so some of them actually have lasted and transcended, right?
Well, that's the only thing that, Hercules hasn't dated except the special effects. I would say about 70% of the special effects look a little corny now. Because, with the budget that we had, they still did a good job. But those guys, the Weta Group and all that went on to do, everybody worked on Lord of the Rings when I finished filming. Peter Jackson used to come on the set and see how things were developing, and he was writing the trilogy of Lord of the Rings during the 90s.
Yeah.
And we were the biggest thing New Zealand ever had at that time.
And you mentioned last time, right, that a lot of those guys that worked with you on Hercules then won Academy Awards.
Oh my gosh!
For the work they did.
They all did.
Yeah.
I mean, the special effects guys. Nyla Dixon did our wardrobe. She went on to win. She was not nominated for 2 things the same year: Lord of the Rings, and she also did The Last Samurai, the Tom Cruise.
Oh
movie.
yeah,
Oh, nice.
that was a good movie too.
So it was.
It's good.
It
I like
was.
that. No, that's interesting. So, did you ever audition for the Lord of the Rings or anything like that? Did you?
Here's the funny thing. I got invited to the final Lord of the when they. They won Academy Awards, all 3 of them, but the third one, they knew it was a final. It's like the political part of Hollywood. That's when they really gave them all the awards.
Right.
We got the third one. So trust me, we'll take care of you then. So at the after party, Peter Jackson came up and said, you know, it was really your show that got things going in New Zealand. And it's true because we had 2 spinoff shows. We had Xena, Warrior Princess, season 3.
That's right.
Season 5, we spun up Young Hercules with an unknown 20-year-old actor by the name of Ryan Gosling.
Oh, really?
I remember
playing me
that.
as a teenager.
See, I don't remember. I remember Xena.
That only lasted 2 seasons. So a lot of people don't remember
I
that.
do remember that, actually.
And so
Did he go on to do other stuff?
he did a couple things. And, you know, Ryan,
is he now?
if you're listening, how come you haven't put me in one of your movies?
Come on, man.
dude. Give me a break.
Come on, man.
But Peter said, you know, your show really got things going. And I looked at him and I said, Peter, that's a really nice compliment, but why didn't you put me in one of your Lord of the Rings movies? You had more than one character. My ego's not that big. I don't have to have the lead in it. I would have liked to have Viggo Mortensen's role in it, but that's okay.
Everyone else did, too.
But, you know, he goes, yeah, I guess I should have done that, you know, but it is what it is. It would have been nice. It would have been a nice gesture.
That would have been very
We're probably quite different politically, so I'm sure he's not going to want to put me in anything now.
I imagine you're different than most people in Hollywood. I know there's an undercurrent.
Oh, there's no question. There's no question.
Conservatives, but there's not a lot of vocal people like you.
I get, especially the last 3 or 4 years, when I'm on a set working, I always get at least one actor coming up and say, hey, man, thanks for being a voice for us. And I say, why don't you be a voice for yourself? What are you afraid of? Because I got blacklisted from Hollywood, there's no question. But thank God for independent movies, because I work pretty much without agents and managers. I'm doing pretty much my own thing through my own Sorbo Productions and SorboStudios.com. Please sign up, SorboStudios.com.
SorboStudios.com.
But it was, you know, it's interesting that they're the ones that scream for tolerance and freedom of speech, but as we know, it's a one-way street.
Yeah.
Which is too bad.
Tolerance for them.
Do you guys? I don't harbor that kind of anger towards people on the left.
I've never understood.
I really don't.
It feels like there's a sort of psychological projection there where they genuinely hate the people they disagree with, so they think that if we disagree with them, we must hate them. But I don't. I worked in Hollywood around left-leaning people. I was open about being conservative, but I never hated them. I didn't I don't have animosity towards them.
No.
And it feels so weird and foreign when they project that onto you and say, "Oh, you're hateful because you disagree."
And you're going, how am I? You know, and they're the ones who are actually hateful.
Conservaphobes.
When Biden did his little, he had the Count Dracula thing he did with the black.
Oh yeah, exactly.
You know,
the Sith Lord. Yeah,
Viceroy.
I was waiting for
the Empire.
Russia or whatever he was trying to be, and he said that we're the party of hate and violence. I'm going, what?
Yeah.
What, Antifa, BLM, and the burning of cop cars and destroying people's businesses and attacking people with tire irons and baseball bats? That wasn't conservatives.
No.
You know? And I love how they keep harp. January 6th, we've had years of violence from the left. And you're going, well, January 6th, there's already been proven there were Antifa guys in there and BLM people in there. And if there was really a takeover, why wouldn't they not go in there with guns? Nobody had guns.
Yeah, it wouldn't be. I always say
that's a weird takeover of a country.
Be 100 idiots and a guy dressed like a buffalo.
No,
they've certainly just used that as their whataboutism for years and hundreds of violent
Well, I would
riots.
say the theory I have is that they're continuing to try to make us respond. So like they're doing things to try to force us to do something.
That's all they got.
And then they will use that as an opportunity to shut us down.
It's all projection to everything they blame the right on. They're already guilty of.
Oh, for sure.
It's all just, I'm going to deflect it the other way.
If you remember the media, in the months after the January 6th riot, they ran this whole story and this narrative that Trump supporters were planning riots in all 50 state capitals. Do you remember that? They ran this for weeks that this was going to happen.
Yeah.
And then nothing happened because they were not planning that, but it's like they want to instigate that and put it out there.
When will
Don't
people
take
wake
the bait.
up? I mean, haven't we noticed that the most violent cities and violent states are all run by Democrats?
That's right.
And it's only getting worse.
And it's only getting worse.
Yeah.
You looked at my home state of Minnesota, unfortunately, is turning into California with its politics. But you looked at Minneapolis, L.A., Chicago, San Francisco, Seattle, all these people going on back with the BLM thing and the Antifa thing. And they just let it go on. And CNN sitting there with cop cars blowing up behind them in buildings saying, see, that's peaceful.
Mostly
protest
peaceful.
Here.
Mostly peaceful.
And are people that stupid now in America? They watch TV and go, yeah, that's peaceful.
I think they are.
But it's
I think
weird.
that they believe who they believe. And so when somebody's standing on a fire going, things are perfectly fine, they're more prone to believe them because they have confirmation bias.
And the violence
they know those people agree with them.
To fund the police, really? to fund the police, and you see the crime going on in New York and Philadelphia and Chicago. How does that mayor stay in power?
Oh, I don't know.
How does she stay in power?
And the Democrats are all trying now to pivot and somehow act like they were pro-police and just ignore that they were the ones chanting defund the police for over a year.
There was somebody on the Democrat Party saying there was Republicans saying defund the police.
Right, yeah.
Once
I
again,
saw that recently.
That's it's like textbook Orwellianism. It's like they're just rewriting history and saying, no, that's not what happened.
Well, if you go to the Reagan Library,
they are good at that.
have you been there?
Which is awesome. Yeah, the Reagan Library.
I used to live in that.
Cool.
Well, we lived 7 miles from this. We had a year. We take the kids every 3 months.
So cool.
And if you look at when he was Mondale from my home state of Minnesota, that's the only state he won is Minnesota. Reagan took 49 states in that re-election campaign, and Mondale only won by 4 percentage points. And if you look at it, it's all blue. So I went and checked it out. The Democrats used to be the red states. The Republicans used to be the blue. A Democrat switched it. And my reasoning, what I think he switched it for, red has always been the color of the Soviet Union and communism. And they wanted to switch colors. That's just my 2 cents, but it's weird.
I never knew that they switched the colors like
you
that.
You check it out. It's this. There was some. I wish I could remember the guy's name, but I know I read it. It was a Democrat senator that changed the colors for some reason. Everybody said, "Fine, whatever," and it's interesting
because they didn't want to be associated with communism.
Yeah,
and they were going that direction, so they didn't want to telegraph what they were doing.
My first year, my second series Andromeda was up in Canada, so it was year 2000, and they were having their own presidential debate going on. And our prime minister, because they have Trudeau, who's awesome. He's related to somebody in Cuba, but anyway.
Yeah, he's so great. We all love him.
There was a woman. There was like 5 people doing the debate, and she's from the Green Party, and she was going on and on about it's unfair that anybody makes more money than somebody else. So if you're a brain surgeon and you're a guy that's a bouncer at a club, you should get paid the same amount of money. And even the other 4 basic socialists in Canada looked down at her like she was a nut job. And my wife looked at me and she goes, no, it's shit. I know it's the Green Party. It's really the watermelon party. It's green on the outside, but it's red on the inside. And it's true.
Right. That was a Sam Sorbo quote.
It was a Sam Sorbo quote. I'm sure other people have done it, but it's the first time I heard it was
I don't know. It sounds like, guys, I've only met her a couple of times, but she sounds pretty quotable.
She's quotable. She's quotable.
That's so cool. Man, so have you always been, by the way, you've always been conservative?
As far as I know, yeah. I mean, I don't.
All the way back.
Well, I mean, because I grew up in that household that my parents were Democrats in Minnesota, but I never really became political until I turned 18. And I said, wow, I get a vote. I'm going to pay attention now. Because it was sort of fascinating for me. And then when I saw Reagan and saw him the way he spoke and all that kind of stuff, and I saw Jimmy Carter, and I went, okay, I think Reagan is like 100 times better than this guy. And I was right.
Now, did you rebel from your parents? Is that your big rebellion?
Not at all. I think they were just it's funny because as my parents got older, I would sit there and go, Dad, let's talk about these 10 issues. Let's talk about them. I'd take it off with each one. I said, okay, 7 of these 10 things that you just said to me makes you conservative. But he grew up as a kid in the FDR world, on a farm in Iowa. They were poor as poor could be. Yeah. Same as my mom, another farm in Iowa. That's how they met at some roller skating party when they were, kids.
That's how people used to meet before.
That's how they used to meet. Yeah,
ice cream social.
Yes, it's true.
Yeah.
And so it was like that's where they just, and that's what a lot of people vote that way today. They see that D by the name, I'm going to vote for the D. And they don't look at what that person actually believes in because we're lazy. People don't have the patience anymore to really watch things, and that's why everything's on sound bites right now because people just we're just dumbing down people.
Well, one of my best friends he would consider himself a Democrat. He grew up around Democrats, and he's always identified that way. Becoming friends with me was actually a challenge for him, I think, because we have such differing opinions. But every time we talk about the issues, he and I agree on everything. And so I'm just like, you are. I don't want to say this because he hates the label. Because he grew up hating the label. He thought that it was like a bad word.
Well, it's a brainwash that way too.
But they're rational. They're rational. They just have this weird kind of like I can't really bring myself to vote for a conservative party. So it's kind of sad.
It is.
And were you always an athlete and stuff, like big?
Oh yeah. I grew up with it. I mean, my hometown, about 7,000 people. We're about 30 miles west of Minneapolis. But you know, it's like when you're a small school like that, we had about 250 people in each graduating class. Sports was all consuming. Our football games, 5,000 people would show up at our games out of the 7,000 people. I mean, they really supported the sports there. So I was a hoopster. I was as well. Loved hoops. Played hoops in college as well. Division II.
You did.
And yeah.
So you're always a basketball player.
Loved hoops. Okay. But it's interesting. I get there.
Is hoops basketball?
Yes.
Okay.
So I get there. Here we're at Division II. When you get there, I remember calling my dad and saying, I was pretty good athlete in my high school years, and I said, I'm here, and everybody at Division II school is as good or better than me. So it really opened my eyes up to the reality of, okay, I won't be playing hoops the rest of my life. But I played in 3 city leagues here in California before I got Hercules.
Oh, wow.
So for 5 years, I played 3 times a week, Pasadena League, Northridge, and Beverly Hills League. And just always loved the game. And then when I booked Hercules, obviously that took me down New Zealand, but,
They don't have a lot of...
It's not a big sport down there. Australia is. Australia loves basketball, but their big sports are cricket and rugby.
Okay.
The All Blacks are like amazing.
Did you play rugby when you were down there?
You know what? I didn't. But as a kid growing up, we played a game in my front yard called Razzle Dazzle with a football. That the only way to go forward, you had to throw the football backwards. Mm-hmm. And had no idea anything. I didn't know what rugby was as a kid. So we were playing rugby and not even realizing it.
Yeah.
And we had a blast doing it.
That's so fun.
Because that was always like...
Who made that game up? Like, do you think they knew about rugby and just stole the idea and were like, hey, I made this game up?
I don't know. It's a tough sport. It's a great sport and a lot of action. It's sort of like football and, soccer combined in a way. It's just nonstop action.
I was thinking, don't they have less injuries in rugby than American football?
They have a lot of injuries. But, they always say, oh, you Americans, you got to wear those helmets and stuff. Come on, rugby's a man's sport. And I'm going, you know what? If you guys hit hard as we hit American football, you'd have 10 people die every game.
That's right.
Because in rugby, you can only hit the guy with the ball. In football, you can take out anybody anytime. Right. You can come and just clock someone from the side. And so it's a whole, they don't get it. But I think it's this whole thing about, you're America, you guys think you're so great, you think you're the center of the world. And well, we kind of are.
That's right. You've never heard of us.
I'm in New Zealand. You have all our movies. You have all our television shows. You have Kentucky Fried Chicken and Wendy's over here.
It's always weird hearing a New Zealand guy, a Kiwi, telling you you're a pansy. It's like, in the Kiwi accent.
I had a guy come up to me at the gym. I used to work out at there, and he came up and he goes, hey, so you're the Hercules guy, eh? And I said, well, I'm an actor playing Hercules. Yeah. He goes, yeah. So you're a Yank. And I go, well, I'm from America. Yeah. He goes, yeah, I've been to America. Hated it. And I said, I had a good comeback. I said, well, don't go back there. We have enough animals there already. And I walked away. I thought a dumbbell was going to be in the back of that, but I was proud of my comeback in the moment. Because it's true. We have enough jerks in this country. We don't need any more.
Hi, man. You're that guy, man.
Oh, mate. Yeah, you're that guy.
Hey. You're the Hercules guy, man. These guys are so funny.
They talk on the upswing, especially the women. Because I went to the beach and they have these guys. And I was talking to them. And they were asking me a question.
That's right. What's going on?
But it's interesting. It was a great country. People are great. It's beautiful down there. It's just stunning.
But you're pretty active on Twitter, right? Did you like Twitter when it started? Like, did you get into that really
yeah,
quickly?
I did. I mean, I wasn't as active as I have been over the last 2 years. Mm-hmm. And probably because Facebook took me down a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Because, that wussy Zuckerberg and his little troll minions.
Total wuss. He's a total wuss, man.
He is a big wuss, I'll tell you right now. Well, he is. I mean, come on, give me a break. I mean, we're supposed to have freedom of speech in this country, and I wasn't saying anything evil about anybody. I was questioning COVID. Mm-hmm. I was questioning what's 6 feet apart. I talk to doctors. I've got a book out there dealing with what I went through, and I started doing speaking events and just in front of nothing but doctors and asking questions. They all admit behind closed doors, masks are pretty useless. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Pretty freaking useless. Yeah. But you can't say that. And why can't you say that? What's the big deal here? We got to listen to Lord Fauci and Prince Gates, and these guys should be in prison for the stuff that they've done.
Lord Fauci.
It's crazy.
They should be.
I go, why can't we ask a question about and question what they're doing? But we are turning into a complete communist country right now. And it's starting to happen. And fear is government's favorite weapon of every level. Fear is what they want to use. Fear and control. Stay 6 feet apart. Ask a doctor with nobody around, they'll say, that's ridiculous. If you really didn't want to catch anything, a cold, the flu, 20 feet at least. But let's face it, the vast majority of people that died from it were people that were elderly and pre-existing conditions. That's a fact. But you can't even say that without people going crazy.
Obese,
but you know what? It was funny on airplanes, because in Florida, I never wore a mask, barely. And doctors, dentist office, they'd make you walk in with it or something. Grocery stores, I just didn't do it. And they come up, could you please put a mask on? I go, no. Yeah. And I was just, but you guys here were just nuts about it. I mean, it was insane. I mean, you're arresting people surfing by themselves.
Oh my gosh, that was one of the strangest things I've ever seen was that video.
Stupidest thing in the world.
Dumbest thing I've ever seen.
You look at this, closing down the parks. If anything, people should be out there running around. And I hear that they still wear masks in schools here.
Some of them do, at least.
That's just stupid.
I think
they have the strongest immune systems around. Why are we just not? And then there's a great interview, and I've got it. I'll post it again with Fauci back on 60 Minutes. This is in 2014, 2015. The guy interviewing one of the 60 Minute guys. So my wife had the flu for the last 2 weeks. She's been laid up, but she's great now. She feels better. She go get the flu shot now. He goes, she had the flu? And the guy says, yeah. He goes, oh, she doesn't need a shot. That's the best way, that natural immunity.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, natural immunity became a bad word to say.
Yeah.
It's all about control. And look at the people. Have you seen the footage of European soccer guys just falling dead on the field after taking both jabs? Nobody's talking about
which
it.
at the very least should be being investigated and talked about. Like there's been musical artists and stuff that have been falling over dead. And it's like, even if you want to say, well, don't jump to the conclusion that it was a vaccine, we should at least be talking about that this is happening and investigating what it is.
Ray Liotta, I'm curious.
It's happening a lot.
Died.
No, you're right. I mean, it's crazy.
Curious.
There's a bunch of young folks, though. We're talking people 18 to 20.
And athletes.
In the last
400% higher deaths in people 25 and younger than ever before. 400% higher.
Crazy.
And we're not talking about
Well,
it?
in the last week, there were like 3 or 4 of them in the news, and I was just like, this is
we can't talk about
still happening. Still happening.
Of course it is.
YouTube's going to put the warning label across the bottom. It's probably right down here, right?
I think you guys posted
this. If you look down, Facebook has a little thing.
Australia now says, if you die because of the shots, we'll pay for your funeral. Yeah, mate, we'll pay for it. If you die because of our shots, we'll pay for it.
We'll pay for the funeral,
amazing?
Well, then if you know you're going to die,
but we can't
if you have a terminal disease, you should get the shot and be like, now they have to pay for it.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Hey, so do you want to do this thing? Who said it?
We have some tweets here. These are these from Twitter?
These are tweets.
Okay. And this is who said it, the Bee or Kevin Sorbo?
Okay.
Because
I post some of yours.
You do post some of our stuff.
And I say Babylon Bee.
Do you always put Babylon Bee? Because we've seen a few where we get jealous because you put our quotes and then it's like, oh, Kevin Sorbo did this, but it gets hundreds of like retweets. And then it's like, oh man, that was our joke. Do you always?
I try to always put you guys in there.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Well, we have some here. Do we have the answers to these, or how do we know the answers to these up here?
Well, I think it's at the bottom. There's like a little.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So are we all playing this game?
I guess. You read one, then I'll read one.
All right, cool. Number one, unvaccinated man feeling left out as all his vaccinated friends have COVID.
That's you guys.
That one I know is
that one was us.
Yeah.
Okay, I won't know the answer to a lot of these.
Okay.
So Jussie Smollett will be forced to share a jail cell with his attacker.
That's you guys.
That was ours.
That was us.
Yeah.
Okay.
3, to save time, Ghislaine Maxwell just lists the Hollywood celebs and politicians who didn't visit Epstein Island. I think that was one of ours.
I think that was you guys again.
Was it?
Yeah.
Are these all ours?
You have any of mine?
Oh, these are all. It says at the bottom. It says.
Are these all ours?
I know I did some jokes about that, but I know that it sounds similar.
Oh,
to that,
so these at the bottom. This is why this is this group. I didn't realize this. This is our producer. It says these are the Babylon Bee headlines that you tweeted out with no attribution. So this is the list of the ones.
Shame on me.
This is the. I didn't realize.
I usually always do that.
List.
And if I
this
usually
is the list of the ones that were not attributed.
If I forget, my son always double checks and he said, "No, that's Babylon. You got to put Babylon Bee." Because
now, do we have permission since there's 14 there?
Yeah.
Can we select 14 of your tweets that we really like and
then
I would be honored.
If Elon puts us back on Twitter, we'll see.
I know.
Yeah.
We're gonna know in a week.
But I would be honored if you guys did.
Yeah,
that'd be amazing.
Are you optimistic about the Elon thing going through?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I think it'd be
definitely
fantastic.
Need to restore free speech on these platforms.
Well,
it's crazy.
It is crazy. It's I just don't. Like I said, I don't get it. They are the party of hate and anger, and it's like, guys, let's have differing opinions. That's what free speech is supposed to be about. But we've been taking free speech away from us for the last 50, 60 years, just in increments. But now it's just accelerated. And just, I'm angry at you. And you talk to these people. What are you mad about? Well, what do you got? You know, they're just looking for any reason to be angry right now. I would love to do a documentary on Antifa separately. Blur out their faces because they're all wearing masks anyway. And I bet you there's a common denominator in how they were raised and how they grew up. I really do. I think.
Don't they say that most of them are trained Marxists too?
Yeah.
Like they studied
Yeah,
Marxism.
but
That's what Patrice Coolers, who was like one of the founders of BLM, the organization, she's like in a podcast saying we're trained Marxists. They were openly that BLM
they want to get rid of God. They believe in communism. They
wanted to break up the nuclear family. That was originally on their platform, on their website. Yeah,
pregnancy is slavery.
Yeah,
really? Okay. So all women stop having babies now, and then 100 years from now, there'll be no life left on the planet that are humans.
That's right.
But men can have babies now, I think. they said men can have babies now.
Of course, of course. Yeah.
Lots of...
You can't deny that. Yeah, I can.
We can deny it.
Oh my
Well, it's pretty impressive, though, to see a guy like you who's done so much acting, so much Hollywood stuff, be able to be open about who you are and talk very clearly and openly about who you are. Is there a point at which you decided, hey, I'm a Christian? Have you always been a Christian, by the way?
Yeah.
And so always been a Christian. And you decided, look, dude, I'm going to live out loud. I'm tired of trying to be on the DL.
It was about 12 years ago, I think. It was more of I was always open about it, but I mean, it really became on social media. My wife told me, she said, they're going to take you down. I said, well, that's just ridiculous. So I think I was one of the first cancel culture before it became a term, I think. Yeah. But I just said, I'm tired of the hypocrisy. I just got tired of it. And I started fighting back. And sure enough, my manager, I was at agent, said we can't work with you anymore. And then I kept my career going. I've shot over 70 movies. There's a dozen that suck, but I didn't know that going into it.
No, you never do.
I keep telling people there's an interview I saw years ago with Sir Michael Caine, which I thought was brilliant. And the guy, the interviewer said, you're Sir Michael Caine. You won all of your award in acting and theater and stage, whatever. Why would you do Jaws 3D? I mean, did you even see the movie? And he said, no, but I saw the house that built me in Spain. Sometimes the money's good. You got mortgages to pay. But I've been very fortunate to stay very busy. I've got 3 movies done in the can coming out early next year, January, February. 2 of them I directed. One's called Miracle in East Texas, wonderful true story set in 1930. I directed it with Lou Gossett Jr. and Tyler Mane and John Ratzenberger. That's right. The Reagan movie's coming out. I was just the actor in that, playing the pastor to Ronald Reagan, played by Dennis Quaid.
Very cool.
And then The Left Behind, so people know the Left Behind books.
Yeah.
Left Behind, Rise of the Antichrist. I directed this one as well. We got Neil McDonough's in there. We got Bailey Chase.
Really?
Yeah.
And when does that one come out?
Next year? January 27th to 28th.
Oh, okay.
Coming up next, for Babylon Bee subscribers.
I mean, I'm already getting cancel culture all the time.
Yeah.
Comic-Cons that I used to get invited to, they won't invite me anymore. And the guys that booked me for them, they don't like your post.
These are questions that were submitted to us by some of our followers.
All right.
Question 1, have you gone to Sizzler?
Have you gone to Sizzler?
Have you ever eaten
I used to go to Sizzler all the time growing up. Oh, heck yeah. Love the Sizzler.
We're big fans of Sizzler.
All the shrimp you can eat. Why not?
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
This has been another edition of the Bee Weekly from the dedicated team of certified fake news journalists you can trust here at the Babylon Bee. Reminding you to go forth and punch Satan right in the face.